It is the 200 level. Mike Carpenter here on Black Friday. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving holiday and taking a break from decorating the old Christmas tree to podcast the second half of a game against UConn, which, you know, it could be worse. UConn is fully healthy. They're a legit top 5 team. Illinois is still figuring things out, so there's not much in the way of anger that I'm feeling right now. I noticed that during the Alabama game last Wednesday, a reason why I felt urgency and ultimately disappointment in not winning that was it did feel like the most gettable game between Bama, UConn, and Tennessee. Now, the hope was, for just the sake of winning this game, that you would maybe avoid two of UConn's best players, but no, they're healthy. Their ankles are good again. They're playing. So that is a team at full strength. You technically are as well, but Tommy is not Tommy, and that's clear as day. So I don't really know what to make of this yet. I was worried that game was going to get away from him. I think it still could. You know, UConn had a stretch there in the last 6-7 minutes. There you go, 6-7, where they did not look themselves offensively, but I do think defensively Illinois did start to kind of tighten the screws a little bit, which is fortunate because in the first 10 minutes of that half, not the case at all. Offensively for Illinois, I don't really know what you got. Stojakovic has been quiet. Boswell has been aggressive. I just don't know what Merkovich, 6 points, 3 of 8 shooting. So you could do worse, but you know, the same sort of thing that I said at the United Center, just make your damn shots. Like 31% from 3. So this team is not a great shooting team. And I know the sample size is not huge, but this is game number 8. They are not a great 3-point shooting team. So we are going to run. We're already running into the same issues offensively as last year. And I do think that when you get Tommy fully healthy and you can run the offense through him, as I'm sure was envisioned, you will get some better looks. But it hasn't really been so much a case of not getting good looks. I mean, they get the looks. Well, then just make the shot. Or you are essentially looking at, and this is what I think that, call this brutal honesty here if you want, but you're looking at a top 20 team that, depending on matchups come Selection Sunday, can make a second weekend. But it's difficult for me to imagine, unless this team magically figures out how to shoot threes in the high 30s, how they are going to be more than like a top 20 team. Now, that's still good, and it's nothing to sneeze at, and it's a team that's going to be compelling to watch this year, and they're going to get some big wins along the way. And today, if they play a great second half, could be one of those. But as I sit here, and this could all seem foolish if Illinois rattles off a crazy 20 minutes here for those listening in hindsight, but I'm looking at a top 20 team facing a top 5 team. And because they're top 20 caliber, they can hang a little bit, but you know that they aren't quite in the same league. That's how it's felt to me. And a long way to go with the season, and a long way to go in this game, actually, because there were intermittent parts where things started to look like they were coalescing a little bit. So we're underway with 20 minutes to go in this game. And 43-32 is the score in favor of UConn as we start this. Stojakovic finding Merkovich, back up top to Boswell in this very, very blue court. And apparently a Knicks game later tonight at Madison Square Garden. But a good start here. Boswell draws the foul down low, and he has been excellent today. A man among boys for this Illinois team that is, you know, young in some respects, green at least to the college game. I think the thing that has been quite noticeable, Big Z has kind of looked like he belongs out there. Merkovich is kind of laboring his way to his production, but Tommy's not himself. Stojakovic seems kind of out of sorts, and we've seen, like we did the United Center game, that can change quickly. But if I sound confused while talking about this, it's because I don't know what to make of this team yet. And that's fine. It's not December. It's still November. I do want to have a conversation, and please, those in the chat thread, don't let me forget this, about scheduling and how scheduling quality teams is good, but what is really the point of scheduling national title contenders? I want to remember to talk about that, and I know that might sound like, well, come on, don't you want to face the best? Yeah, but I also want to win games. So there's maybe a balancing act here, which Brad Underwood is murderer's row schedule, and that's great in some respects, but you also want to win some of them. So what is the happy medium there? Now, 43-34, UConn on the drive to the rim, up and good, and the foul on Stojakovic. Let's just get to that conversation now. It is a 11-point lead again for UConn after that make and a chance to make it 12. But when this game was announced, there's the initial excitement of, okay, Black Friday, you get a national audience. The problem is Illinois has not done all that great with national audiences in the last calendar year. So it's not as if I'm arguing to schedule scared or schedule as if you're not a top 25 program. But it's more to the point of, what do you hope to gain from this game? All the eyes on this are not going to be particularly helpful for Illinois' brand of basketball. It has been so far. And the jerseys look great, by the way. I know they're blue, but I'm sorry. That is a really slick-looking jersey. And it looks like Nike is kind of refitting our threads, so hopefully we don't need to continue to run out that Illinois with the funky font that nobody actually likes. So this will be Merkovich going the line to try to bring it within single digits again. But I'm watching this game in the first half. I'm decorating the tree. And I spent all morning mowing leaves and just doing all those things before winter storm. And we got a snow football game tomorrow, which we'll talk about. But I was not all that excited when this game was announced. And it wasn't because of shades of, oh, God, remember that 30-0 UConn run? Well, of course I do. But 2 years removed, different teams. It's more just the fact that Brad Underwood, this track record in non-conference games, is pretty darn good when you're looking at that 10 to 25 range. But when you get 10 or above, it's not. And I don't personally have a whole lot of fun watching us lose by double digits in a non-conference game, no matter how many eyes are on us. But more than that, this UConn game so far, what's been frustrating is you feel like you're at a very distant arm's length from what UConn is. And that's fine in and of itself, because Dan Hurley is probably the best coach in the country, despite him being completely insufferable. He is. Let's call it what it is. UConn is probably the best program in the country. But this whole beat the best to be the best, Illinois still has another few rungs to climb. Brad Underwood has made an Elite Eight. He has Big Ten banners, and he's a very good Big Ten coach. Even in top 10 Big Ten matchups, the numbers aren't that bad. But in this non-conference thing, I don't understand necessarily the benefit in losing these games, I guess, as Merkovich takes it and he just kind of loses the ball at the rim. I just don't know. Where's the line? I don't have a great answer for you on that. Would I rather be playing, A&M, Tech, Central, Prairie Land University today at the State Farm Center? I don't know about that. But I think for a team that is young and trying to coalesce, does this game necessarily get you closer to coalescing? Do you really learn a whole lot? I don't know. I was just musing on that, and I haven't done a great job of explaining it, but it is going to go back to UConn on a tie ball. It's 9-point UConn lead. Yeah, I don't know. They just look better. And that's fine. But what I say here, or in the way that I'm saying it, if I sound like, I don't know, dejected, it's more just, what fun is this? I'm sorry. I'm just letting you guys know in the chat that I'm not having a lot of fun watching this game. I can appreciate the fact that, hey, you get an opportunity against a top 5 team and you're top 15 ranked at the moment. But I don't know, man. It's just, I'm not having a great time watching this. Now, UConn's missing shots and letting you hang. They're up 9 with 17:45 to go. We got a clock issue, because why wouldn't we? But, yeah. This is from Bobo. What you learn from games like this is that you aren't a top-level team in second weekend exit. Second weekend or second round exit, Bobo. Until proven otherwise, we're going to have to see. I know the Elite Eight was 2 years ago, but that was on the backs of Terrence Shannon Jr. and Marcus Damask. This team could develop those guys. We could see Stojakovic become that Marcus Damask kind of guaranteed guy, where you're getting 20 points a game and he's able to booty ball or ISO to his heart's content. But 3, no good for UConn. So, they're letting you hang, and they miss the putback, but they get their second offensive board, and this is going to be an easy foul on Ivasic, who is jumping on every pump fake. That's the second or third time today. From Robert, we don't have a lot of depth in our offensive style. We can't since we have so much roster turnover. Our style is NBA-ish, two-man ball that high-level teams shut down. Well, so far that seems to be the case, Robert. So I think when I talk about this game and why I'm just not having a great time watching it, it's not aesthetically pleasing, for sure. And, yeah, we are looking rather anemic offensively. So when push comes to shove, I don't have faith yet that this team is going to be the one to break that second round hex that has existed for much of Underwood's career here. And then, what compounds it a little bit is watching the Big Ten teams like Purdue and then freaking Michigan. Isn't that fun? Look really, really good. And listen, you are not always going to be the best team in the league in any given year. It's okay if you're top 4 or top 5, and I still think this team probably will be that because I do think they're pretty darn good. Z3 is no good, but yeah, they can't make threes. And if those aren't falling, you're just whatever. Big Z does get a block, so good job in the transition defense. UConn up, no good. They just are not making shots. But we got a foul on the floor against Merkovich. And the fouls are piling up here for Illinois. This is from K. Andrew. Always seems like a huge gap when we play teams that aren't necessarily ranked, but well coached. I still see the athletic talent to get Brad to the second weekend of his coaching career. And that's just it, K. Andrew, is as I watch these non-conference games and think, what do you want from them? You want resume builders that come March can get you off that 4-5 line. And that speaks to the floor that's been raised here with Brad Underwood. I think this team is better than last year, objectively. I hope that I'm not proven wrong about that and that they are, in fact, better. But, when you're in that 4-5 line, you have a tricky second-round game no matter what. When you get to that 3, then things start to get a little more advantageous in terms of matchup. And I would love to see this team get this or Tennessee to really keep in their back pockets as they go through the year. Man, this has been a slow, sluggish start to this freaking half. We're 3 minutes into it, and the fouls, 3 on each team. It is a 10-point UConn lead, 46-36. So let's do a little play-by-play. Let's watch some of this micro stuff here. Brandon Lee in the game for Illinois. He finds Big Z on a little give and go, but Big Z gets blocked. And he will go to the line to shoot 2. So they call that a foul. From Bobo, Illinois needs Terrace Reed Jr. to stay on the court for UConn. They played better when he's on the court, but he has 3 fouls. So, from Robert, to win big in March, you have to either beat teams better than you or win with your C-plus game. Underwood seems to do neither as a general rule. Beat teams better than Illinois, that is... In the Big Ten, it's happened, though it's really been in seasons where you're already towards the top of the heap. So I get that point, Robert. I think it's fair to say that there have been not many games I look at and say, Illinois didn't play their best, but they somehow snuck out the win. It does seem like, not feast or famine, but when you're playing good teams, you either play your A-plus game and you get the win, or you play your C game and you lose by 8 or 9. Now, I'm sure that is law of averages at work there, but it does seem like, Brandon Lee with a steal. Come on, Hemrickhouse 3. Be there. Make this interesting. He made one earlier, but he doesn't make that one. Guys, these are wide open shots. I mean, geez. It sounds so simplistic to say, well, just make your shots. You're going to be a lot better. But isn't that it? Other teams shoot 3-pointers better than Illinois. Why is it so freaking hard for them to make a 3? You went out and accrued this talent to do just that, and they aren't doing it. Now the question is, do you have another offensive mode that you can go into? But just make a damn 3. These are open shots. Big Z can't make it. It will stay with Illinois after the break. Now, to D-Dub's point here, the thing is you don't have to run this type of offense. You're right, you don't. From King Abbott, man, 10 missed threes in a row. What the F are we doing? You know what I'm not going to do, King Abbott, today? I'm not going to say the F word. I forget if I did the Alabama game, but or did I with the Aaron Henry diatribe last pot? I'm not sure, but 10 missed threes in a row. Isn't this the crux of it? Let's get to the sponsors real quick. I got a thought about Underwood in general here. Let's get to our sponsors. And hey, in this holiday season, cheesy as it may sound, lame of a transition as this may be, I am very thankful for our sponsors at the 200 level, including my place in downtown Champaign, Hamilton Walkers, succulent steaks, fresh seafood, craft cocktails right in the heart of downtown Champaign. There's something about that place any time of year, but especially during the holidays, they deck it out a little bit. It's a classy joint. On a cold winter's eve, there is nothing more cozy and toasty than going to Hamilton Walkers, sitting down with a delicious old-fashioned, ice cold from the best bartenders in town. They bring out the bread in the basket with herb butter and regular butter. You get the super salad with your steak. You get family-style sides. It is, oh my God. Just, I mean, how cozy does that sound? You can go there tonight. You can go there anytime over the holiday season. It is perfect for informal and formal dinners alike, pregame, postgame meals, whatever it may be. Hamilton Walkers in downtown Champaign. State Farm agent Brian Hansen, online at brianismyguy.com. Life, auto, home, business renters, whatever your insurance needs, visit online at brianismyguy.com. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. Give them a call at 217-841-4728 and join their maintenance program. My wife and I have done that for a few years now, and we get a furnace check in the fall, AC check in the spring, and on top of that, no overtime or weekend fees, guaranteed same-day service. And it's just the best HVAC deal in East Central Illinois. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Appreciate them. 217-841-4728. Finally, Owen Builders, LLC. I'm on owenbuildersllc.com. I assume Luke, I hope he's taking the day off. Much deserved. Watching the Illini game. He's a big Illini fan. For your next home improvement project, check out a gallery of their work online at owenbuildersllc.com. Get a free quote while you're there. Champagne Showers Podcast Network. Appreciate them and appreciate you, the listener, and the viewers, which we got over a couple hundred here on this Black Friday. And I like that Jennings brought this up. Jennings' brother says, I'm going to have to disagree with you about these tough non-cons, Carp. I'd rather take these L's in November than in March. 100%. Now, to that point, Jennings, that is all well and good if you win in March. And if this team makes a run in March or even just makes the darn second weekend, I mean, we don't ask the world. Second weekend, I think we're calling this a successful season, right? I think we would all sign up for that right now, whether you're fourth, fifth place in the Big Ten. You make the second weekend to bounce back from the not-so-good taste from last year. That's a really good year. We'll take that. That's if they do, Jennings. I think my concern with these tough non-conference games is because they are sort of like NCAA previews, is that you're seeing the same issues. And this leads me to the crux of the Underwood thing. You know, I don't want to make this sound as if Terrence Shannon Jr. and Marcus Damas saved his butt, because the team 2 years ago around those guys was still pretty good. They all filled a role. It was great roster construction. It was an amazing eval find in getting Marcus Damas. So he built that team. He gets to wear the credit of that team. Big Ten tournament champions, Elite Eight run. He's got 2 Big Ten tournament banners and a Big Ten regular season banner hanging in the State Farm Center. That's the 11th missed 3 in a row for Illinois. But my worry, to Jennings' point there about these non-conference scheduling things, is that maybe it's not the scheduling, Jennings, that bothers me, whether that's your last name, I'm sorry. Jennings Brothers. It's more that it's just sort of a preview of what I think might come in March. And not in even a, oh, God, here we go again way. I tuned into today's game just saying, okay, well, what the heck? I know it's probably a steep hill to climb here, but, you know, neutral site game in November. Like, let's see what you got. Now, I'm watching. I may be a little bit behind some of you guys here, but Big Z misses another 3, it sounds like. That was an air ball. And Illinois does get the rebound, and Boswell is going to set it back up. And according to some of you, there will be a 13th missed 3 in a row, and that one is missed as well. So I see this Jennings Brothers, and I think, same shit, different day. Same shit, different day. I won't say the F word today. I'll go PG-13 S word. But come on. And then it just tailspins as it appears this game is maybe on the verge of doing so. It's a 14-point lead for UConn. and then we get a kickball, and it will stay with Illinois. But yeah, I just don't. I don't understand, guys. Hello to Andrew Pritchard. Andrew, if you could do me a favor, because I want to switch gears to snow football in just a second and talk about that. And I would best meteorologist in town, Andrew Pritchard, went to school with him. And I want to get his final prognostication for those that are thinking of going to the stadium, because it's funny how after the Wisconsin game, I'm like, I'm not going to the stadium. Brr. And then I see the snow forecast, and I'm like, I'm going to the stadium. I've seen one snow football game in my life, and that was 1993. Ty Douthard, game-winning touchdown. I think that Illinois team ended up going 5-5-1. 1994 was a little bit better, but probably should have been even better than what the record was. But, yeah, the snow forecast was picking up, and I thought, okay, I got to go. And, yeah, Andrew is also going to the stadium for snow tomorrow. If you want a good follow on Facebook, and I'll get back to this basketball game in a bit, but according to some of you, it's not really worth it. I think I am behind some of you guys. 52-40 is where I'm at with 14 minutes to go. But what Andrew, I think, had most recently predicted in terms of the snowfall forecast is between 3 to 6 inches of snow. King Abbott told me to drop the F-bomb. I'm going to try to get through the whole podcast not doing that. 3 to 6 inches of snow, wet snow, heavy snow, windy. We'll see. I'm in much in the way of drifting. Lot 31 might get tough, being a grass lot, open air. But if you're in town, I think it's swingable. So I'm going. Andrew, sounds like you're going too. We got snow football. The 3 is up for UConn. It is a 17-point lead. And okay, I'm not going to say the F-bomb as King Abbott man might want me to, but this is Brad Underwood is a good coach. He is. He often loses against great coaches. I don't think any of us are going to point at Brad Underwood and say this guy's elite as a coach. Maybe as an accruer of talent, I think sometimes as a talent evaluator goes underrated. And on a macro adjustment level, sometimes can be great. However, right now, we're seeing the same things against a great team. Therefore, you are not great. And we can add the caveat yet. That can change. But it is frustrating to get lapped. Knowing not every year you're going to be first in the Big Ten, but to get lapped by a Michigan, for example, and Dusty May coaching his butt off. And I don't need them to beat UConn by 40 like Michigan did Gonzaga by 40, but they also should not be losing by 20 points again to UConn. Vegas said 4.5 when they got the news that UConn was fully healthy. They are about to quadruple, quintuple that. So eventually, I guess the question is, are we sick of this? I don't think we're at a point where we're sick of it, because that would be negating the wins that he does get. And in trying to choose my words carefully, it's not to avoid controversy or anything. It's trying to acknowledge the good that Brad Underwood does bring to this program, but also acknowledge that if you're frustrated, you should be, because there is this sort of rerun element to this. Oh, you're playing a great team. Oh, you got your asses kicked. The reason, again, why I got so frustrated in that Alabama game is I don't think they're great, at least not yet. And you had them in Chicago, great crowd at United Center, and you just couldn't make a damn shot. And you couldn't get stops when they were timely. And at a certain point, it does become very frustrating. The time and time again, these top 10 caliber teams are just straight up better than you. And it's year 9, I believe, with Underwood, right? Is it year 9? He got here in 17-18, so I want to say year 9. And he's done a great job. When you look at a media guide and you look at different coaches in Illinois history, I've said this before and I'll say it again, Brad Underwood is a Final Four away from being the best coach in Illinois history. But he's got to do that first. And I think the problem is I'm looking at my thread right now and I'm thinking, God dang, guys. Where are you at on Underwood right now? I mean, you aren't going to fire him, and he has done nothing to deserve getting fired. So where are people at? Because right now I'm seeing this from Greg. Paid a lot, good portal recruiter, but can we compete against top 10 teams? We're struggling in that department, Greg. From Seth, Brad is a salesman who dresses up like a coach. From Eric. Excuse, I just burped in the microphone. I'm really sorry. A lot of food yesterday. Eric says, Brad never wins the big games. Cookie, Underwood started going downhill when he put his son over assistant coaches. King Abbott, man, I still love him, but make some damn changes. I think that is probably the overwhelming sentiment, King Abbott, because he has done a lot of good, and he's got banners that mean something. Those do mean something to me. Big Ten tournament titles, Big Ten regular season titles still matter. And he is one of the better Big Ten coaches. Win-loss record, however, whatever metric you want to use, he is. This is from Bobo. Well, this will be a loss. Then going to get beat by Tennessee and lose at OSU. So 3-game losing streak, then home against Nebraska. Well, here's the thing, Bobo. Illinois, 13 for 43 from the floor. Can't make a shot. The Tennessee game, of course I don't feel good about it. It's in Nashville. So we're going to get through that series, and will we be 0-3 against them at that point? It's just, it is, that part does exhaust me. And back to Jennings Brothers making the point about better to lose now than in March. I agree, but he's not winning in March. So I don't know. Like, what are we really getting from this other than a reminder that, well, Brad Underwood's a good coach. But, you know, I will say this about Brad and Brett. And I do think this about Brett after this year. Brett Bielema is a good coach. He's not great. He's not elite. The record bears that out at Arkansas and here. Okay. He's a good coach. He's not great. He's not elite. For Illinois football, I can live with that. Now, I want him to make some changes. I think he will make those changes. I would also like him to stop losing inexplicable games, which aren't a huge number for him in 5 years, but the ones that have been frustrating anyway. So, yeah, just right now, Brett is probably closer to a PJ Fleck than a Kirk Ferentz. But PJ Fleck's not bad. I just want him to be closer to Kirk Ferentz ultimately. And I think that with some adjustments, he can get there, right? With Brad Underwood, I think he's good. But I've seen too many patterns and trends to suggest he's not a great coach. And it's really interesting. I'll talk with, Trevor and Isaac about this. And Trevor has his finger on the pulse of college basketball. And Brad is very respected, as UConn answers R3 with the 3. He's well respected within college basketball. I do just think you're starting, as time goes on, and in this climate where you can rebuild rosters, which he does every year, for better or worse, if this were 15, 20 years ago, I would understand feeling like you got to stand pat no matter what. But I do wonder as the season goes along, if there are fans who feel a sense of stagnation, what is the overall mood around here? And I want to get to this from Andrew. And this, I think, is an interesting point. Where did that go? We get a lot of interaction in there, and I appreciate all you watching and tuning in. From Andrew, I don't hate Brad, but I'm finding myself for the first time genuinely wondering what it might be like to have a different vibe. I haven't let my heart wander for a while. I don't think Andrew's alone here. What I'm not fishing for is some headline to say, Fanboy Carp talking about getting rid of Underwood. No, if you were to do something that drastic, you better have something great in mind. And I don't think that's on the table. I don't think that's even within the deep recesses of Josh Whitman's mind. Though maybe as an athletic director, it has to be. Like you always just think, well, if this weren't to work out, who would I go get? So I take that back slightly. No, I'm not trying to start any sort of headline thing here. Okay, should we talk about getting rid of Brad Underwood? However, I think it is okay to verbalize what is it about him and the program as it stands that is not quite doing it for us. And then it's okay to be introspective and say, well, are we dancing a dangerous dance here? Or are these criticisms valid and this program's in a place where, hey, they can succeed with other coaches too? Now, I have seen in my life, Lou Henson, Lon Kruger, Bill Self, Brad Underwood. Do we throw the first 3 years of Weber in there? So essentially, guys, I've seen at least 4.5 good coaches in my life. For football, since I've been really consciously watching them, I was too young to watch or remember the Makovic eras. But if we count him, 2. Him, and I'm still putting Bielema as a good coach. Frustrating as last week was. I think Bielema's good, okay? I will take that for football. However, my point there is that Illinois basketball has tended to, apart from the doldrums of Late Weber into John Gross, found guys who win basketball games. Is there risk involved with ever changing a coach? Yes. I think that will ultimately take care of itself because Brad Underwood is not the youngest guy. And this is not me being an ageist or anything. He's not the youngest guy. I could see this going another 3 or 4 years, and then he's good. The question I think it's okay to ask ourselves, if Brad Underwood suddenly announces retirement, how would you emotionally react to that? If he suddenly said, this is my last year, would you be sad? Would you be angry that, like you were with Bill Self, like we all were, heartbroken, angry, all those conflicted emotions? Or as Andrew said, would you say, hey, we appreciate it, man. Like you were a really good coach. Let's try something new. I think the question that will persist this year as we go along into a tough Big Ten schedule where there are some elite teams in the Big Ten, and we are right on that cusp. Like at our very best, if we get Tommy healthy, I think this team is still pretty darn good. But no, I can totally envision a season that goes by and we win a couple, lose a game we shouldn't, win one, lose one, win a couple, lose one. You know, you never quite get the momentum going. You never quite get the mojo going. You get a 6-7 seed in the NCAA tournament, and then you lose in the second round, and then you're back where you started. I can see that more than I can see a Final Four trip, unfortunately. So what does that say then? I'm enjoying, for the most part, watching Illinois basketball, but I would be lying to you if I said that right now, as UConn has a chance to take a 20-point lead, I'd be lying to you if I said that I am like beaming and super happy as an Illinois basketball fan like I was when I was younger with other coaches. I would be lying to you. I think what we're looking at is Brad Underwood's probably closer to a Lon Kruger. We endear those Lon Kruger years because he won a lot of games. We also, by the end of Lon Kruger's 5-year run, it was 5 years. When he went to the NBA, it was, okay, that's a bummer. Oh, this Bill Self guy's interesting. I do not remember back then people freaking out that Lon Kruger left. We all acknowledged he was a good coach, but we were excited at this Bill Self guy, and why not? Because from his opening press conference, we all fell in love with him. But I'm just saying these things to make us, if we are afraid to ponder, as Andrew mentioned there, let our minds wander a little bit. Are we doing ourselves a disservice? Do not take that, please, as, oh, Fanboy Carp is saying, let's fire Brad Underwood. No, but we can stop talking as if this is or should be the reality of Illinois basketball for 5 or 10 years. I had the discussion with the boardroom last year, and these were younger guys, and understandably, they look at Brad Underwood differently than I do. I'm looking at a larger historical context. They're looking at a more immediate, hey, this guy has resurrected Illinois basketball. That is true. But I think one thing I've learned about sports over my life is this, and I'm almost 40, but so I still got some years and experience left to learn more and more about it, but you know, I'm no Yoda of sports. Let's put it that way. But I do think there is something to be said about a shelf life. To give you an example, Joe Torre won 4 out of 5 championships with the Yankees in the late 90s. From 2001 on, he lost to the Diamondbacks in 01, lost to the Marlins in 03, lost a 3-0 lead in 04 to the Red Sox, stayed around till 07. Probably a couple years too late, despite everything he accomplished, which was 4 titles. And the only thing keeping him around was a fear of, well, if we go get somebody else, what then? 2 years later with Joe Girardi, they won a championship. UConn up 21. Boswell with a take, and he'll go for and one. But I don't understand necessarily, especially in the NIL era where this Illinois program has a crap ton of money. Why there would be the same leeriness of thinking about other options than there would be if we were 10, 15 years ago. I remember some people arguing, not many, it was pretty minuscule by the end of it, but, well, Weber, I know they're struggling this year, but hey, he did make the Final Four in 05, and we were 7 years removed from that. Well, we're only a year and a half removed, or a year and change removed from making an Elite Eight and winning a Big Ten tournament title. But we do know that what Brad Underwood's done, and this is the tricky thing about expectations, you raise the floor, you also raise the expectations, and therefore when you don't achieve expectations, despite everything you did to raise that floor, people are going to start coming off sounding ungrateful for it. What I'm trying to say here is that we can balance being grateful for what Brad Underwood has done, but start to wonder, what are the limitations under Brad Underwood as our coach? And if you can tell me that you're as excited sitting here entering December of 2025 with Brad Underwood as you were even 5 years ago with that team, if you can tell me that, I wouldn't call you a liar, but I'd ask you, are you sure? Are you really sure about that? Two truths at once. Appreciate what he's raised, but also question, where are we going? Because I'm watching this, guys. Where are we going? I don't spend half the time musing about this, but it's occurred to me that, last year, and this is why I don't tweet as much. I did during the Wisconsin football game because I didn't have my microphone in front of me, and I had to get out my frustration with Brett Bielema allowing this blunder of a defensive coordinating hire to not ruin 3 years, but keep you from achieving what you potentially could. What I don't want Josh Whitman and this athletic program to do is get scared out of considering things that should be considered. Brad Underwood went out, got a defensive coordinator this year. Okay, well, to be fair, your defense hasn't really been the biggest issue today. Just can't make any shots. Okay, well, who built the roster? Brad Underwood. Who runs the offense? Tyler Underwood. Metrics love it, and they have. They did last year, and you lost in the second round, and you got schooled by a Kentucky team that wasn't even that good. There is a fatigue, I think, that's setting in. What do Pittsburgh Steelers fans think about Mike Tomlin right now? Go ask them. I'm a Bears fan. I'm from out of town. I'm like, man, I would take Mike Tomlin in a heartbeat. I'm kind of glad that Ben Johnson was the one, despite what may or may not happen in Philly today. So it worked out. But, when you experience the same thing over and over, fatigue does set in. I need to get to the chat thread here. And yes, credit to Kylan Boswell, who's playing his butt off today. He really is. Greg says, tired of being embarrassed. That's just it. It's November, and UConn might be top 5, but come on, they've lost a game, and I know they weren't fully healthy, but you aren't even making this competitive. We might, by the end of this, get this to be a 12-point loss, but we would have known. It was never in doubt. It was never in doubt. That's not fun. Ugh. Yeah, I don't know what to say, guys. From our good friend Kenton Elmore, who I will be having an old-fashioned cigar watching the Bears game later today. You know him from the second mic occasionally. From Kenton, great example of shelf life is Bill Self. Granted, there are health issues there. It's not apples to apples, but it's very possible I have a great coach yet still need a different one. That is the tricky thing, Kenton, is that, and why I'm not speaking with venom today. I'm not going to make any, toxic comments about Brad Underwood because, and I'm sure I have before. I will admit that I've responded irrationally behind the microphone every now and then. And that's not my intent going in, but I know emotion gets the best of me sometimes. I don't have that right now. What I have is this weird feeling of detachment. I know we're down 20 and I'm not actually that bugged by it. And I'm asking myself, well, why is that? I wrote a goddamn book on Illinois basketball a year ago because it's been such a big part of my life. And I'm wondering, why am I sort of muted to this? I don't have the bluster right now as an Illinois fan. My wife and I are going to go, at least we're planning on it, but I do have a eye surgery thing about 2 weeks before it. But planning to go to Breslin Center again, where I've seen Illinois lose twice in 2 games that they should have won. And the last 2 times I went there, I just think we're better than Michigan State. A little bluster puffing out my chest. And I'm like, I don't know. No, we're probably going to lose. But it's fun going up to Michigan State. And I'm thinking, whoa, 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 whoa. Why the reversal? I just use that shelf life analogy just to get people that might be thinking, well, we can never do better. You know what? We could post Underwood totally screw it up. That's a possibility. And that's scary in one way. But if you are, in this day and age, a program that has the resources, and God knows Illinois basketball always will. This is not 2012 at the tail end of Bruce Weber, where you didn't have that money. And even if you did, Bruce Weber would have been like, well, I don't really think I should spend any money on players. They're getting their college education. Not the best Weber impersonation, but you get it. He wouldn't have played ball to the extent that Brad Underwood does. And I appreciate that Brad Underwood plays ball. Like I always have. Hey, Bobo has a Steelers fan correspondent. Just asked a Steelers fan. He said, honestly, Mike Tomlin needs to go. And Mike Tomlin is the man. Like, I'm sorry. He is the coolest coach in the NFL. He wins a lot of games, but shelf life. What are we doing here, man? I'm not. And by the way, guys, I hope that I've hardly called the game, but this has turned into a weird musing on the state of it. I'm not going to tweet about it because that shit will get taken out of context, and I'll be doing another podcast with people trying to explain myself. And whoa. When you waste time explaining yourself, you've already lost the argument. So I'm doing this in real time and trying to reckon with this weird, conflicted thing that I have right now. I would be lying to you if I said I'm excited at the prospect of another 5 years of Brad Underwood. I would be lying to you. And I know that may be interpreted as, God dang, man, get your head right. I mean, that's fine. You can criticize that notion. I am just telling you. I am just telling you what I'm feeling, and it's a weird sense of detachment. I don't like that. I didn't like the John Gross era. I did not like that at all. It would be so easy. I mean, God, if I had any faith in Brad Underwood against good teams in March to do this 4 times in a row, to make a Final Four, I wouldn't be saying any of this. You know what I mean? But I think there's this weird sense of kind of like being in quicksand, almost a suffocating feeling where I'm thinking, ain't going to happen. And it's like, well, no, I don't know that for sure. But my heart certainly does not feel that that's in the cards. My gut doesn't feel that that's in the cards. And I don't know. Like, again, we're probably going to lose this game by 12. It's not going to look like a blowout. But we weren't really in it. And it's just been, look at this, Bobo. It's been 17 minutes of game time since someone other than Kylan scored a field goal. 2 for 16 from the field. I know UConn plays good defense, but you spent an offseason putting a roster together that was supposed to be better at offense. And they aren't 8 games in. So what are we doing? I'm just asking, what are we doing? I don't know. It was kind of funny. I saw that Kylan again. Dude's balling out. I mean, awesome for him. And great senior year for Kylan. But I know it's young, it's early, and you got time to let this thing coalesce, and they can be better in February or March than they are now. But it just seems, I don't know. I don't have the, come on, guys, let's keep your head up. Even last year, there were moments where I'm like, damn, I think we're pretty good. And I did have that. I mean, it's funny. I texted a group thread of ours after the Colgate win because it wasn't the prettiest of wins, but the way in which they did that made me think, oh, well, they could play a C game and get the win against a good team. But, I mean, UConn 3, no good. God, they're just missing a lot of shots themselves. You're only down 12, and how funny would it be if they come all the way back? This is a 10-0 run here, so it's a 10-point game. How funny would it be if they came all the way back? And I'm not going to say this team has been fighting today. Effort has not been a question. So that's not the concern. They just aren't shot makers at the moment. How funny would it be if they came all the way back and our little musing about Brad Underwood is just Gone. Oh, man. Well, I got the second here. This is a long second half. God dang. Hamilton Walkers, downtown Champaign, steak, seafood, and spirits, right in the heart of downtown Champaign. There is no better place for a holiday meal. Take my word for it. It's great to eat 12 months of the year, but 1 month of the year in particular, Hamilton Walkers, the coziest steakhouse. So, we usually have a December dinner somewhere out and about with my parents and old neighborhood friends of ours, and we did that last year in at Hamilton Walkers. And they hadn't really been there a whole lot. So I think they're sold on that. I wouldn't be surprised if we make another December pit stop over there. State Farm agent Brian Hansen, online at brianismyguy.com. Life, auto, home, business, renters, you name it. Brian is my guy. I can be your guy as well at brianismyguy.com. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. Give them a call at 217-841-4728 and join their maintenance program. My wife and I have done that. It's excellent. Furnace check in the fall, AC check in the spring. No overtime or weekend fees, guaranteed same-day service. Can't recommend Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing enough. Also, Owen Builders, LLC. I'm on OwenBuildersLLC.com. Luke Owen, big Illini fan, probably huffing and puffing like all of us watching this game. But they do great work there. Check out a gallery of their work online at OwenBuildersLLC.com and get a free quote while you're there. All right, we're back. Some play-by-play. It is a 10-point game. Illinois not completely done, and they got a chance now to bring it single digits. 5:40 to go. This would be the funniest and amazing. It would be amazing. Despite everything I've said, and I still kind of hold to that. But Jake Davis 3. I don't think that could have hit more of the rim than it did. 5 for 25 from 3. Why is it like Finding Nemo? Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. It's just keep shooting, just keep shooting. And we will hear the same thing in the press conference. I guarantee it. But Petrovic, nice take there to bring it back within 10. UConn went 5 minutes without a field goal. I mean, guys, I don't think the defense is the problem. I really don't. But a really bad away from the ball foul there. Now, it's not bonus yet, so Illinois has not been fouling defensively. So here's the thing. There is that on a given night if you make some shots. And they got under Brad Underwood. Yes, 6 straight 21 seasons, 5 straight NCAA tournament appearances, 2-time Big Ten tournament champions, 2022 Big Ten regular season champions. Guys, that's a lot. Grateful for it, all of it. And at the same time wondering, okay, where are we going? You know, Mihailo Petrovic, they have to do when they call his number on a foul, they have to do 2 times the 2 and 5. 7-7. It's not often you get a player with a number above 54. I don't know how they sanction that. The long 3 from UConn is up, and it's no good, but no board, or no, Illinois does get the board. Petrovic on the break. Nope, going to set it back up. Here's Kylan. Trying to set up some offense. And here we go. We got 4:15 to go. It is a 10-point game. And Kylan, almost loses his handle, but he does not. He kicks it out to Tommy, the 3. If you shot 30% from 3, you'd be leading. 1 for 13 from 3 this half. 5 for 26 on the game. UConn keeps missing them too. Illinois gets a board. What do you think they're going to shoot here? Think a 3? Or maybe, because they got double bonus, they can try between Petrovic or Boswell to drive and draw a foul. Here's Petrovic. Kicks it back out. And it will be over and back. Fake rally confirmed, says Jennings. Yeah. As Andrew says, Cabin always be playing on NBA courts because dudes are jacking up 3s an extra few feet away. They are. Quit doing that. You know where the line is? From Cookie. Hello, Cookie. If you were just 3 of 13 this half from 3, it'd be a game. Make your damn shots. But the problem is, I can say that, but they aren't. 2 years in a row, they aren't making their shots. So it's the same shit. What are we doing? And there's nothing changing on the sideline. I'm not even angry, but just like bewildered that we're doing this again. And if he doesn't say in the postgame, oh, I like the shots we took, I'll eat a hat on air. Sunday morning, after I'm recapping the snow game against Northwestern, I will boil a hat right here on this podcast. I will bring down a little portable boiling machine. I'll put a hat in it, and I'll eat the son of a bitch. If he doesn't say something to the tune of, I like the shots we took, they just didn't fall. Stop taking so many. I run into this with the Yankees. World's smallest violin for Yankee fans, I understand, but they are so analytics-based that they have no finger on the pulse of the game in front of them. You are now 5 for 26 from 3, and there have been 0 adjustments made, and the game was gettable. Look at that. Just like Alabama, the game was actually gettable, and it won't be gotten. Stop doing that. I didn't have a lot of vigor behind a lot of what I said today, but God dang it, man. Watching this on repeat gets a little frustrating, and it just takes the air out of the balloon. This team has talent. We see it. But they're a discombobulated mess, and I don't have faith in Brad Underwood to figure it out. Sorry to say, if I'm an asshole for saying that, so be it. If I'm an ungrateful blah, fine. But, like, make a shot. This is... They're getting paid now, too, which is what should be the case. How many great players have came and went here that should have gotten so much money? D. Brown should be a multimillionaire from that last year alone. Everyone had a number 11 jersey. And I don't like this feeling of being stuck in neutral. And I've spent my whole life on the air, trying to, if you want to know what my thesis statement, really what my sort of MO as an Illini fan or commentator is, it's this: expect more. And that is not expect national titles every year. That's not expect winning Big Tens every year. You know what expect, I think, for me is putting a few banners up. Brad Underwood's done that. Making the occasional run in the NCAA tournament. He's done that once. It's funny, after the Alabama game, I theorized this with Trevor and Isaac. And Trevor, rightfully so, kind of called me out on it first, like, what? I brought up the Loyola game, and I said, hear me out. You got to understand, there is that deep-seated thing within Illini fandom where you pile up these disappointments, you hold on to them far longer than you should, or far longer than any healthy fan should. But what I think the Loyola game does have is this sort of subconscious effect on every subsequent March disappointment. We go back to that and say, see, he couldn't even do it with the number 1 seed in favorable scheduling. And yeah, Loyola was a good 8 seed, but they got their butts kicked that game and no changes were made. And we spent 2 hours on a otherwise beautiful Sunday afternoon watching that team just paper cut themselves to death. And I don't know. It's just, it's frustrating to feel like as I'm watching this game that if you need your coach to go do something, he's not going to do it. But apparently some good things about to happen here with 3:10 to go. Apparently it's going to be a single-digit game. UConn is one ice cold, and Illinois has the ball in a 13-2 scoring run in the last 7 minutes. So Kylan is just going to stop and pop. No, he's going to find Tommy for the 3, and it's going to go in. So we have a 7-point game. 2 timeouts for Illinois, 1 more for UConn. 2:53 to go. UConn single bonus coming up. Illinois in the double bonus. Dan Hurley going to pop a blood vessel in his brain if this continues. But now you got to get stops on almost every possession if you want to somehow pull off what would be an incredible comeback. UConn with the ball, 15 on the shot clock. And a take to the rim, up No good. It will be a rebound for UConn. They're going to reset it with 20 on the shot clock. Illinois does recover defensively, but didn't corral that board, and I'm worried King Abbott man as to what's going to happen next. He says that cannot have been a more maddening possession, and yet again, you don't get the rebound twice. And you foul on a three-point shot. Was this Jake Davis foul on a three-point shot? Second time in 2 or 3 games he's done that. I won't say the F word today, King Abbott man, but I'll let you do so via the chat thread. Just, I don't know, guys. Getting tired. Quick reset here. Kylan Boswell with a phenomenal game, 25 points. Ivasic starting to look himself. So if there's good news in the second half, you hung around, sure. But Tommy starting to look a little bit more like Tommy is very encouraging. But Andrei Stojakovic, 3 points. I just got to know. I mean, Jake Davis can't play anymore. I like him. He can't play anymore. Like, come on. That's so stupid. Sorry. That's so stupid. And if I hadn't seen him already do that this year once. Whatever. And I say whatever because just, I'm going to move about my day. And I wish I had more juice with Illinois basketball right now. I really wish I had more juice with them. I just don't. I'm just sort of like blech about it. We're going to be here. We're going to be calling the games. I say that, of course, I still got some, vigor about it, but not nearly as much. And it's just the same repetitive story. They're going to win 20 or 21 games. And come on, there are far worse fates in life than that. I understand all of that. So home cooking with the shot clock. We'll see what happens here. Maybe we'll get a break and get bailed out by some bad clock operation. They might be waving it off because they never reset that shot clock, apparently, the third time. After the third offensive rebound. God. I'm not doing a great job of filling empty space. I apologize for that. Ball never hit rim. Shot clock reset. Should be a shot clock violation. Okay, well, let's see if they get it right. So this ball does not hit the rim, so therefore it should be a shot clock violation. Yeah. Seth, I'm just going to throw this out there. Whitman should have hired Iowa's coach, Ben McCollum. They played disciplined basketball like a military unit. They weren't going to hire anyone after last year. But again, I just go back to the question. If you found out last year that Brad Underwood wanted to seek one more job somewhere else, what would your emotional reaction have been? Would it have been more like losing Bill Self or losing Lon Kruger? I think we're basically living through a Lon Kruger type of era here. Lon Kruger did win one Big Ten title. Big Ten tournament was relatively new, but no, he had 4 or 5 of those, so he didn't do anything in the Big Ten tournament. Never made a second weekend. Maybe if he would have won another 5 years, he would have. But I think that Brad Underwood is approaching Lon Kruger-like levels. I mean, that's kind of what we're living through, and that's good. But that's just what I'm pondering myself. If Brad Underwood all of a sudden magically just went somewhere else, am I feeling like I did after Lon Kruger left, or like I did after Bill Self? And I kind of know the answer to that. So they aren't going to change this, it looks like. They're counting the basket. Yeah, whatever. I mean, that ain't right. Probably because they're scared of Dan Hurley because he just complains like a little bitch about everything. It'd be one thing if you were just a great coach, but he's just a little bitch about it. Like he's just a little whiny elf. And these dopey officials are actually intimidated by him. What's he going to do? What is that little man going to do to you? You'll get a little bit of spittle in your face as he's bemoaning another call. As he, flails around like a moron. I don't understand that. So that's BS officiating. Now the problem is now that you're down 11, you would have had an opportunity there to make it more interesting, to be sure. But this was too little, too late for a team that is just flailing like Petrovic. I'm going to shoot an 18-footer from the free throw line. What are you doing? Like, what do you do? What are any of you doing? Not named Kylan Boswell. What are any of you doing offensively? You play a good team. Your offense stinks. Fortunately for you, UConn could not buy a bucket themselves. So this game is going to look closer than it actually was. If you watched it, you won't be like, hey, we only lost by... Yeah, they still doubled up the spread on you. They still doubled up the spread. I don't know, guys. Like, I'm behind the microphone. I should mince words. As I sit here right now, I'm whatever with Brad Underwood. I say whatever because, again, there's more good than bad, but I've seen the same story before. And if I go to the same movie over and over again, eventually I'm like, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good. Might even get a Best Picture nom. Not going to win it. That's just kind of the thing, right? Long ass half, too. Oh, my God. Here's one good thing about the snow game tomorrow. I don't know how it's going to go. Throw everything out the window when it's a snow-covered field where you won't even be able to see the yard lines. I mean, this is going to be crazy. So throw all the records out the window. There's going to be slipping, sliding, falling, fumbling, all of that fun stuff. And the Bears won a playoff game. I was at that snow game with you, Kenton. But that snow game, it was more like a snow in the air. It didn't really stick on the field. That wet lakefront snow in Chicago when they beat the Seahawks, their last win in the postseason. But no, Ben Johnson will have something to say about that. Yeah, but no, this one is going to be a white field. I don't think it's going to be warm enough for that stuff to melt. So, woo. But man, the Bears are about to start, and I got to get a quick shower before that. So could we wrap this up? Oh my God. So my point was before this game is going 2 hours and 20 freaking minutes is tomorrow's football game may go 2 hours and 20 minutes because how are you going to pass the ball? Run. From on the mark. I think we have to be happy being a Sweet 16-ish team. We are great at beating mediocre teams and mediocre beating great teams. Interesting point. First great team we come up against in the tournament, we are cooked. But you know what the problem with that is? On the mark, Kentucky wasn't great last year, and they smoked your ass. And Houston back in 2021, okay, that was rough luck. Loyola was good. They weren't great. They lost the very next game. It's just the track record. There's one great Brad Underwood win in March. One. Iowa State. That was a truly awesome game. Can't take that away from him. He did it. They won that. They got to the Elite Eight. Well, we know what happened against UConn. I have been very kind about the 30-0 run. I just said, oh, that's UConn. They won the national title. They did. 2 in a row. One of the best teams in the last 15 years. But the last 25 years of college basketball. But I'm losing my ability to level with you guys. I'm sorry. I'm leveling now. can I be honest with all of you? Like, I have been probably self-censoring. Not for fear of repercussions for what I said, but because I was allowing myself to get into like one-track mind, like I'm going to criticize him, but also say, now hold on, we should be grateful for everything. So like acknowledging that, but what I haven't been honest with you guys about is just this overall fatigue that I kind of have with the way things are right now. I just that is something I have not been forthright with you guys about. What I can't let that do is impact the way that I react when they do inevitably win some big games this year, because I think that they will. I think they'll win a decent number of games and they'll make the tournament, and all this success that he's established will continue to an extent. But I've not been honest with you guys about how I'm just like not getting that same buzz from it. And I was excited with this roster building, and it's still early, and they can coalesce and be better than this for sure, and be a dangerous team come March. But do I have faith? No, I don't have faith. I'm sorry. I don't have faith in Brad Underwood to ultimately get you the promised land. And if you ask me right now, have you maxed out what you can do with Brad Underwood? I would say, I think you have. And you might be okay with that. And maybe I should be okay with it too. But I would be lying if I said that it's a very exciting time to be an Illini basketball fan. Call that ungrateful if you want. And you know what? You may not be wrong about that. But that's where I'm at. I'm watching this game just sort of tick down. Like I said, it's going to be about a 12-point loss. Not going to look as bad as it actually was, though they still tripled up the spread. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have not been forthright with you guys about that. This team does not excite me. Brad Underwood does not excite me anymore. And we'll be here calling the whole season, and I still, despite all that, hope for success. I would love to eat crow. I would love to eat crow and be like, I did this 2 years ago when they were playing Valpo at home and they were trailing by a point at halftime. It's a bad Valpo team. But I don't have it in me anymore, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to be here to talk about it all the way and react to it as Hurley and Underwood hug. I know he's a respected coach. I'm not there right now. So, I don't know. Last thing, Cookie says, what's your prediction for tomorrow? Cookie, I got twofold prediction. One, I think it's actually going to be high scoring, which might seem counterintuitive to a snow game. But I feel like sometimes we forget an offense has the upper hand. They know where they're going in this slick terrain. The defense does not. So they're always they're reacting one step slow. Two, the same way after the Indiana game, I said, it's college football. It's weird. I think Illinois beats USC. And I didn't have a whole lot of reasons why to give you. Just, that's football. I got the same kind of hunch. That's football. I think Illinois wins tomorrow. I don't know why. I'm super excited for a snow game. Will I be excited if they lose? I'll be less excited. And we'll come on here Sunday, and that would not be a fun podcast. But you know what I want? I want them to go 8-4. That feels so much better than 7-5. I want them to make the changes I'm sure they're going to make next week after signing day. And log this is just one of those weird oddities to end the season. It'll be the second snow game in my life at Memorial Stadium. So I'm not missing that for the world. Thank you, Mother Nature, for bringing me back into Illinois football. But 8-4 is still good. Not what we wanted, of course, but something that I will never take for granted with this Illinois football program's history. Seth, I appreciate that, man. Professional as always. I know that we've gotten a little blue with the language, but I'm sorry. It's 2025. I'm almost 40. At a certain point, you just stop caring. When the most influential and powerful people in the world get to say absolutely horrendous things, I'm happy to just drop a few PG-13 curse words on my sports podcast. We're having fun here. Even when they are not giving us reasons to have fun, I hope that you guys are having fun. It's cathartic, whatever it may be. We will be here for this basketball season. I hope that didn't sound depressing when I say, I don't have the juice for it anymore with Brad. I don't. And I would love for him to prove me wrong and make me eat crow and make a big run the tournament and have this all coalesce and beat great teams throughout the year. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to be fine. I think they're going to win 20, 21 games. They're going to get about 5 or 6 seed in the NCAA tournament, and then they're going to lose in the second round. And then we're going to be saying to ourselves, well, are we okay with that? And that's for the individual fan to decide. I mean, I would not begrudge anyone that says, yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, that's cool. I'm not going to be yelling at people for that. From K. Andrew, parental advisory, explicit lyrics. Yeah, that's the thing. I did put the little explicit tag check mark on my podcast feed, so that way the kids cannot. I mean, I teach 8th graders, but I guarantee in the hallways, the things I'm hearing in the hallways. Hello, this is tame. I say, hey, watch your language, and they tend to do that. But man, when they are out of earshot from teachers, they just do not care. In fairness to them, I was the same way at that age. All right, guys. Hey, do me a favor though. If you are coming to the game, please drive safe. Enjoy the snow. Winter storm, though we've had worse. And if you're in town, I think it's doable. If it's interstate travel, maybe get a hotel room or something. They're going to be cheap in town. But be safe. Have fun. It's a snow game. Let's get a win. Let's get the 8th win and come back. Have some fun Sunday talking about a fun into the season, because I hope beyond hope. I do think, and I thought this going into I'll put that up there, Andrew. I will say this, as I went in this weekend, I thought the most likely win was Illinois football. And as the Bears about to start against the Eagles, I love my Bears for what they're doing. They're overachieving. I love Ben Johnson. I still think Illinois football is the best chance to win. So let's hope that's exactly what happens. They bounce back, get the win, and let's freeze. At Memorial Stadium, the snow-covered ground and bleachers, and you might be ticking in a little something to warm you up. That's okay. I think that it's just going to be kind of a free-for-all in there for the 5,000-6,000 people that show up. I will be one of them. So stay warm, stay safe. See you Sunday. Hopefully you talk about Illinois football win. And then we get into signing day and the coaching carousel. And inevitably, I would presume, changes within the Illinois staff that need to be made. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Friday. Go Bears. Go Illini. Just, this team, whatever. We'll be around to cover all of it, though. It is the 200 level.